This is going to be women coming together, getting super, super real because this is supposed to be a really powerful season, you guys, for women particularly. And let me frame this. I am not anti-man. I love men. I absolutely love men. I also love women. And I've been watching for far too long. Um, and not in like a women's liber crazy, whatever they call, Nazi liberals, not in that way. But I have been seeing women suppressed for so long. And it's like literally suppressing the, I almost don't like using this term. I hope you guys don't hear, what I'm not saying and hear what my heart is saying. Like the divine piece of feminine in this world, I honestly believe fixes everything we're seeing that's going wrong in our world. I really do. Like the mother, the nurture, the teacher, the wild and free that women carry. Um anyway, I'm gonna so get off track. It's not even funny, but I hope you guys hear my heart. And so I have such a passion to help fix that. And it's only going to be fixed through women. I believe it with every fiber of my being. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with today is the workbook. Did everybody, thank you, Maria, did everybody get the workbook link? Okay. Did anybody start on it? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to screen share and we're going to start talking about this workbook and even why I created it and what I'm hoping you guys begin to get out of it. This was super spontaneous in creating this workbook. After my first class, the feedback I got from people and coming into the program and all that other kind of stuff was amazing. But I also realized that there were a lot of questions that a lot of the women didn't even realize they should be asking themselves. And I was like, oh, okay. Because when we know something, we like take it for granted that everybody else knows it, right? And so it was kind of like a recalibration for me. So I'm like, let's throw a workbook together and dig into some of this stuff, all together. And one of the things, you guys, is most of the women that are in my vortex that come into my orbit, they've already kind of like done all the things. They have, they've tried the inner healing stuff and they've gone to, they listened to every podcast and read books and gone to therapy and they're, like, what the hell's wrong with me type of a thing. And first of all, I'm going to say there is nothing wrong with you. And I'm going to show you actually what is wrong and why there's that friction that you're like, whatever this is, it's not working. So it starts with some of these questions, you guys. And this first page, the looks good but feels wrong inventory. And as women, and I'm going to get into this later, we're really good at making everything look good and come together, holding it all together. But it's not really real. And that is what our inner deepest part of ourself is going, no, no, no. So we're presenting, yes, this is working. I'm holding it all together. I'm like the, strength and tower. And inside, it's going, no, no, no. And that's the friction. That's what's wrong. And so we have to look at it. So this is supposed to be like a mirror workbook for you, right? So where does your current life check the boxes but still feel off? And you guys, this is so coming from my own journey, all right? Where are you checking the boxes? And my boxes were, oh, look at my successful marriage. And it was unraveling in the background. Look at, I'm a mom of these amazing 3 boys. And I was so not showing up for them fully because I was so divided in other areas. Oh, look at my career. Yeah, I was a VP in the financial industry, male dominated industry, rising star, making buttloads of money, checking all the boxes, looking super successful, absolutely demolished inside, right? I was the worship leader, the, prayer room leader, like all this stuff in ministry, inside feeling like this is so disingenuous on how I'm feeling right now, right? We all hear about the stories of, you and your spouse are like cutthroat argument, and then you walk through the church doors and you're like, hi, how are you? It's such crap, you guys. Because of that, my body, my health, I was having, health issues, weird things popping up. Doctors are like, oh, you're totally healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, there is absolutely something wrong with me. So all over the place, you guys, I was checking all the boxes on the outside, right? Curating this life like we see on social media happening all the time, but something wasn't settling inside. So where in your current life are you trying to check the boxes, but something's filling off? And give yourself that score, like 1 to 10, right? And this is not something you're sending in to me. This is just for you. So you need to get as honest as you can be. All right. Sure. Good there. Okay. So I've outgrown this inventory sheet. So use this to name the systems, the roles, the, habits that are no longer fitting, even if they did at one time, right? So I use this example, like I was super involved, like in the school, the PTA stuff, whatever. My kids are now grown, off into their careers, 2 of them married. If I still kept hanging out at the school with the PTA, something would look wrong, right? They'd probably call the cops on me. Like, what is wrong with this person? There's things that work, that we built at one point in our life, but they probably don't fit now in this season. And so we want to honor what we did in that last season, but then be able to put it away. And sometimes that's easier when we honor it, right? So what I once built in these various categories and why it worked then, right? This is kind of that honor process. Why it doesn't fit now, and what is it that I actually want now? And you guys, I know sometimes this is going to be kind of hard questions, right? Don't rush through them. This is not oh, I've got to rush through this and complete this and, get it to my mentor. No. Sit down, 10, 15 minutes at a time. Because I don't want this to be overwhelming. I want it to be real. All right. So something is off. So this is like this misalignment, right? Life areas versus energy drains. So my marriage and family, how does it feel right now? Is it full of life or is it draining me? Why is it draining me? And then we don't stay there. What would it look like if it was giving me life? If it was actually aligned with how I feel on the inside? And then what I want you to do is just spend some kind of journal reflection time, right? Why am I tolerating the things that aren't working? What's keeping me in that space? What am I afraid of? What are the patterns? What are the habits that I have formed? Sometimes it's like, I've worked so hard to build this life, it terrifies me to admit that it's not working anymore. You guys, and I'm not talking about scrapping your life and burning it all down. That is the worst advice anybody could give you. And I will tell you, talk about real and raw. My husband and I have been married, a little over 25 years, shy of 30 years. And I can't tell you how many times throughout our marriage I heard, you need to leave them. Scrap that. Move on. And how I had, legal right, spiritual right, all the things that justify this scrap it, burn it down, start over mentality. And something constantly inside of me, and it's not, it wasn't a bad thing. Something inside of me was like, no, there is a better way. And it was not over spiritualizing. It wasn't like, oh, I'll be in sin, because I literally, as far as that went, those boxes were all checked. And I honestly believe that part of that process was teaching me and leading me to now what I teach. It's not about burning it all down. If you want to burn it all down, burn it all down. If you want to start from scratch, start from scratch. Like, there's no guilt, shame, or condemnation in my sphere ever at all. But there is another way. So after you've done that, move into section 2, why you're still carrying what you outgrew, because that is usually the answer, is we tend to evolve and grow, right? Like the life that we built in our 20s and 30s typically is not going to work in our 50s, 60s, 70s, wherever you are. It's just not. And we, especially as women, we tend to have high intuition and we tend to flow and pick up on things. We tend to grow and evolve way faster than our counterparts. But because of programming, we're going to get into that, patterning, we're going to get into that, culture, definitely going to get into that. We tend to hold on to the things that we outgrow. So why? That's what this sheet is about. And identifying some of those survival patterns, all right, and how it shows up in our daily life. So this is what I call my 3P map: proving, performing, and perfecting. Right? So in these areas that we've talked about up here earlier, right, our marriage, family, friendship, faith, belief, body, health, home, time, schedule, career, right? Where does proving show up? Where is performing and where does perfecting show up? They're three definite different survival patterns. And if you're not sure what that looks like, reach out to me. Like, what's the difference, right? So most of this comes from childhood conditioning. We're going to get into that a little bit later too. So this is why I don't like anybody doing this workbook until I do my class, because after the class, you're going to go, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense. But some of your childhood conditioning, your beliefs, your patterns, your thoughts, your reticular activation system, all the kind of stuff that you believe you're seeing and experiencing in your life today was actually programmed, science has proved now, between the years 0 and 12. So childhood conditioning, good and bad, right, literally is forming your life today. And if we don't see it, if we don't recognize it, it's really hard to upgrade. So What was praised in your childhood home? What was punished, explicitly or implicitly? What messages did you receive about strength, value, or success as a child? What did you learn was unsafe to express? And you guys, these are super important questions. And again, it's totally safe because it's just for you. If you want to discuss them with me or reach out to me, you are welcome to. But this is just for you. All right. So what did I learn to be in order to succeed? And how is that version of me still running the show today? You guys might be really surprised at what comes up in that. And then, because we don't stay there, we don't stay in the place of what might have me stuck or what's not working. We are always moving into what is it that I believe at this moment actually feels right. Not perfect. Okay, you guys, and I keep looking up here at the screen at your faces. I should be looking here in the camera because then you feel like I'm looking at you. I should probably move your faces down here. But what feels right? Not what feels perfect, not what do I think I should feel like? Okay, you guys, we are so getting rid of the shoulds. Stop shitting all over yourself. Okay? What? And you guys, you're women. I know you are highly intuitive. It is in the fabric of your makeup. You're safe to go with that right now. So if it fit, it would feel like what? In all these different categories. And then what's the first small step I could take? And you might not have that answer yet. Again, set a timer for like 10 or 15 minutes at a time and keep coming back to this workbook and doing a little bit more, a little bit more. Don't get overwhelmed. All right. The other thing is that's going to help us get off of the program track that's running in your brain, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. So then we start going into our personal value map, the what I stand for worksheet, right? What is the core value? Like, this is another thing. A lot of people are like, I have never really thought about my core values. I have a whole teaching on that. And you guys, if you don't know your core values, you can't live from them. And there's also a difference between core values and spiritual values or high values, right? You have a high value. It's like, oh, I would like to attain that at some time. That is, my high value idea for, I want world peace, right? That's not a core value. So for me, my core values, I've been doing this long enough. I literally have them down to my top 2 values that I live, eat, and breathe from. One is integrity. We're going to get into what integrity actually is. And the other is freedom. And integrity and freedom, they run through my veins. They always have, actually, even from childhood. After I identified, I could like go back and go, oh my gosh, that's so me. So then where am I honoring that value and where am I compromising it? What does it look like if it's actually lived out in that area? See, you guys, how many of you have actually ever sat down and really asked yourself these questions? Most of us don't because we're so busy just living, right? And spinning our wheels. These are such important questions. So rebuilding your internal framework from clarity, not coping, right? Or I'll sometimes say soul and not struggle. So what I stand for now, not 10 years from now, okay? Because that's the other thing that we will so I know, Wendy, and that's what I so passionately want to get women out of survival mode. It's hugely important to me. But not what you stand for or what you want to stand for in 10 years. Because this is the beautiful thing, you guys, is if we're constantly thinking about the future, we'll never be present in the now. And before we know it, it is the future and we actually never lived. Usually, yes, Maria, and that's a great question. So Maria in the chat said, what if you don't know what it is, but you feel some sort of way about certain things? Is that an indication of a value you haven't defined? Yes, yes. And what I want you to write down is those words. Something's not right, but I feel a certain way. Okay. I'm going to give you one of my coaching things that I walk people through, and you can walk yourself through it. The 7 layers of why. Why do I feel that way? Come up with whatever it is that you wrote down. Well, why do I feel that way? Or why is that important to me? But by the time you get down 7 layers of asking why to each one of those answers, oftentimes you're going to come down to a very core root that you carry. But what I want to let you guys know is when you feel that friction, but you can't identify it, that is the part of you, the highest part of you, the truest part of you, the most real part of you, sending you a signal, hoping that you listen. Like, this is not working. This is not aligned. Doesn't mean you're broken. Doesn't mean you're failing. It's actually you're probably running the culture script really well. And your highest self is like, this isn't it. So listen to that and then investigate it, right? Women are the greatest investigators ever. Investigate it. So what I stand for now, I no longer pretend what? These are commitments to these are like your I am statements to yourself, right? From now on, I choose what? And then I just put a little, daily energy tracker in here. You can expand that, keep it in a notebook, whatever you want to do. It really helps bring awareness. It's kind of like, a nutritional coach, and they're going to say, for 2 weeks, I want you to write down everything you eat. Don't try to tweak what you're eating yet. Write down everything you eat before we start tweaking it, because they want to see you become aware of really what you're eating, how much you're eating, what are your macros, what are your calories, right? Because oftentimes we're so unaware, and awareness is everything. So this daily energy tracker is the same thing. There's no doing it right, doing it wrong. I would say take this framework, stick it in a notebook somewhere, do it for like 2 weeks. What's the activity? What's my energy level? Did that feel energizing or draining? And then write some notes about it. This is awareness, you guys. So in your core reflection for that section, if I didn't owe anyone an explanation, what would I change first? And where am I staying, in whatever's not working because it's familiar, not because it's right or it's safe. Oftentimes, and I could so blow that one out of the water, familiar is not safe, right? We used to, in my first marriage, I exited because of domestic violence, and also almost lost my middle son because of it, miscarried. Thank you, Jesus, that he survived. But one of the things, and I became a big advocate back in California with domestic violence, one of the things is women stay in those relationships because it's familiar. And the idea of change is scarier than staying in the relationship. They know they're going to get beaten. They know they're getting mistreated, but they know what to expect. They don't know what to expect out there. So they stay. And that's what we do. We stay oftentimes in things that are not right for us because they're familiar. And so we think they're safer than what's out there, right? Or that's safer than changing. So if we were to build from the inside out, this is where we start working into that, right? And our decision filter, we have to address how we're making decisions. Are we making decisions because they're aligned with our core values, or they're inherited from that 0 to 12 programming? Right? So here's some questions, some responses. Now, here gets, and don't jump to here, you guys. This is so layer by layer. All right? So start from the beginning. Whenever you get to this page is the right time. How I earn money. Is it currently true for you? Yes or no? Does it feel congruent with who you are? Yes or no? What adjustments need to be made? How I set boundaries around money. How I use my time. How do I set boundaries around my time? How I choose my relationships. How do I set boundaries around my relationships? What I believe about success. How do I set boundaries around my success, my work? And how do I make decisions? What we want to know, are you doing these things aligned with your core values? Are you doing these things because you were taught to do them that way? Or you defaulted because culture taught you that way? Again, ending that with a core reflection page. And you guys, this is what this workbook will stir up so much. It's not even funny. Are there any questions on that workbook before I get into the actual class? Did anything rub anybody the wrong way? I always love to jump into that. Okay. I'm going to use the, where'd my screen go? I'm going to use the slide deck from the class, but we're going to flow with it. Again, if you guys have questions, you want to pause me, just jump in. All right. Let me get this screen out of my way. I'm going to put the chat up here so I can kind of keep an eye on the chat. So I truly believe, and this is what's fun. This is like my smallest class. Absolutely love it, which is why I'm also giving it the freedom to, flow. All right. But I truly believe, ladies, you are not here by accident. Obviously, you guys have been feeling some kind of internal shift and might be like, but what now? Right? Most of you are probably tired of pretending that things fit and they don't. Tired of holding it all together because it's like, who the hell is holding me together? Right? I'm doing it all. I'm holding everything together and I'm holding me together. And I've said this before. I want to say it again. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm going to prove it. What's wrong is you've actually outgrown the system that you were taught to survive in. And like Wendy said earlier, for me, it's survival. I'm just trying to survive. And that system will keep you surviving. So one of the things that I like to talk about is the truth. First of all, 87% of high functioning women report feeling like they're pretending in their own lives. I think that number is higher. That's just who's reported on, that poll that they did. I think there's way high, I would say 97%. I'm just gonna like throw that out there because I will bet that a lot of the women that they asked were definitely like, whew, I can't get honest about that because I'm too busy holding it all together and curating this life, right? So these numbers is what really drives me and drives my passion. That's ridiculous. 87% feel like they're pretending in their own life, holding it all together. You know, imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and how I just blow that out of the water. That's horrible, you guys. 87% of women aren't living real. That's what we're going to say. Right? So one of the things that I'm going to do that is totally different is, here we are right up front. I'm going to let you guys know, like, typically at the end of the class, you know, I invite people in to the program that we're getting to launch. I'm piloting a new program, blah, 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 blah. I just want to get that out of the way right up front. All right. So we can just put that out of our mind and we can get on with the real stuff. Now, if this offends you, that I'm actually making an offer for you guys to come into my program, get my coaching, get some of the, I would say, the deepest, best work I have ever put together in my life. If that offends you, you are absolutely welcome to bounce out. All right. I'm not going to be offended. But if you guys are okay with that, promise not to be offended. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up, a yes, whatever in the chat. If that is offending to you, like, we're still giving you the workbook. We're still going into some really deep stuff in this class. Then, you know, you can bounce and I won't follow up with you or anything. But if it's okay that I do that and I just get that out of the way right up front, which is completely unconventional. Okay, Maria, not a problem. So I just, yeah, anyway, just want to put it out there. So I have put together a program. It's called The Business of Becoming Her. Now, right now I have it, you know, on the website, becoming.melissamccreary.com, discounted from what it was a couple of weeks ago. But at the end of this class, I'm going to be giving you guys a code that is like massively discounted, plus a bunch of bonuses that I'm going to go over. But the course itself, just by itself, there's 4 modules, 4 lessons in each module. You'll have the recordings. You can either be on with me live as I'm recording it or watch the recordings later. There is the workbook in some of my proprietary systems, Mountain of Me, Route to Rise, Ascension Strategy, Quantum Leap. None of those mean anything to you if you haven't been in my vortex before. And then, like I said, I'm going to put a bunch of bonuses out there. So just so you know, right up front, that is, you know, what you can join me with. And like I said, at the end of this class, I'm going to share a special code with you guys to get a big old fat discount for it. So who's perfect for this class is you've really outgrown those roles that once made sense. You're looking good on the outside. Everything looks fine. People think from the outside, everything's fine. Inside, you're like, this ain't working. You're ready to stop performing, right? You're ready to stop being part of that 87%. The other thing is, I will say, you've like done your inner work, right? So if you are like, you know, living on the street, addicted to drugs, your life is falling apart, like, this is not for that. All right. This is also not, you know, inner healing, blah, blah, blah. This is really for the woman who, high capacity, it's not working. And she's looking for what is working. All right. If you need therapy, go get therapy. If you need inner healing, go get inner healing. We'll still be here. All right. Those can be building blocks, but this is not that. What I can promise you is at the end of this, you will stop being exhausted from hustling and performing, and you will literally feel like you're living from your core integrity. We're going to get into that word integrity because obviously I'm super passionate about it. And you'll actually reconnect with the woman you were before the world told you who to be. That is a powerful statement of mine that I'm super passionate about. And why you should even listen to me in the first place. I mean, I could go through my list of accomplishments, and that is just what the world wants me to do, right? My titles, how much money I've made, how many people I've helped, yada, 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 yada. That's not why you should be going through this course with me. Why you should be going through this course with me is because I haven't just created a program, I literally lived it first. I lived it first. I always call myself patient zero, and I have coached so many people through it already, one-on-one. This is the first time, however, I am offering it in a group setting because it's been refined. And I will tell you too, I'm always refining, I'm always growing, and however I'm growing and the things that I'm learning, I'm always, evolving whatever I do. So one of the things I want to talk about today, there's some definitions I want to set in stone. I really, really, really want you guys to understand this and be able to identify with this, especially before doing that workbook. Okay. So from the moment we could walk and talk, right? 0 to 12 era, we were handed a script, which means we were actually not shaped by who we were. We were shaped by the culture around us. Typically, initially, right, is our parents and our siblings, and then it begins, our culture, our world begins to expand, right? And literally, that is when the hustle began. You didn't start hustling because you were broken. You started hustling whether you're aware of it or not. And we're going to define the word because you were told that that's what you were supposed to do. But hustling actually causes us to disconnect from ourselves. And you guys, if you've been in my realm, I'm a neuroscience nerd, a quantum science nerd, and a psychology nerd. Like, I study this inside and out. So I have all the science behind this for those of you that are, brained that way and you want to see it. And so what I want to say plainly is hustle is in direct opposition with integrity. And integrity is the only way to the real you, and living as the real you is the only way to get out of survival and into fulfillment. The only way. And integrity, you guys, this is another thing that just drives me a little batty. Integrity is not about being good. I don't even know where that word got twisted in our culture. Well, I mean, I do know it actually has religious roots, but I'm not going to get too deep into that today. But integrity, the original word integrity comes from the Latin word integer, and it's about being whole. All right. So I like to use the word integrity with this visual like a bridge. So let's say you're getting ready to go across, the Golden Gate Bridge, or, whatever big long bridge is around you or that you can relate to. And before you start driving across that bridge, you are trusting the integrity of that bridge. So you're not trusting the morality of that bridge. You're not thinking, well, did that bridge sin yesterday? Is it making good choices? Did that bridge lie? No. You're trusting that the structure is whole and solid. You're trusting that the whole undivided, right? Because obviously you don't want a bridge divided, is sound so that you can get from here to there. It's the same thing in you. You're here right now. There's something calling you to be there. You might not know where there is, but you can't get there until you have figured out your inner integrity structure. And when we're not in our integrity, we are divided. You can't cross that bridge, you guys. This is why I'm super passionate. Now, hustle isn't, so this isn't a hustle problem, right? Getting from here to there is not a hustle problem. It's a structure problem. You can't hustle more and think you're going to get a different outcome than what you're getting right now. That's insanity, right? We all know that. Keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And then hustle is do it more, do it faster, do it harder. And we're going to get a different result. No, you're not. You're going to get more of the same. If you, whatever you are doing has you in survival mode right now, you will just create more situations to survive. Just going to say it like it is because that's what I do, because I love you. All right. So I'm a massive stickler about language because language actually builds our culture, internal culture and external culture. It shapes what we value, what we understand, how we behave, who we become, right? So 2 words I'm going to literally define right now: hustle and integrity. Hustle, according to Webster's definitions, means 1, to move hurriedly, to obtain by force or persuasion, to fraud or swindle, and this one I love, to engage in prostitution. So think about hustle culture, right? And everybody's telling you to hustle, whether they're using that word explicitly or implicitly. It's hustle, 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 hustle. And these are the things that they're telling you to do: to rush, to push, to convince, to contort, to charm, to over deliver, to sell pieces of yourself and your integrity, right? To keep the illusion alive. That's hustle. That is what they're telling you to do. That's what you're telling yourself to do. Versus integrity, that comes from that Latin term meaning whole, undivided, complete, has nothing to do with moral perfection. It's not about, being moral. It's about the intent, being aligned with your internal truth. So a book that I love is The Way of Integrity, or Integrity is the Way, by Martha Beck. And this is a statement that she says: hustle isn't just overworking. It's overperforming, overpersuading, and metaphorically prostituting your truth just to belong. And think about it, you guys. Culture tells you, push through, smile anyway, be impressive or be palatable. And we're going to get super real because no one hustles like a woman. Not because something's wrong with us, but because our design is to multiply. Literally our original design, our core design. You give us whatever ingredients, right? Like, give us some groceries and we are going to make a feast, a wonderful meal. Give us a house and we can make it into a home. Give us a little bit of DNA and we're going to grow our own humans, right? But here's the flip side to that design. Give us a broken system and we're going to hustle that too. We're going to multiply that too. We will over function in toxic environments. We will outperform in cultures that reward our silence. Makes me crazy. And we'll hold it all together until our bodies and our souls completely fall apart. And you guys, that is not failure. That is the survival instinct. And chasing some mythical finish line called enough, where they're always dangling the carrot of enough, but they're always moving it, right? It reminds me of like the greyhound races. They never catch the rabbit by design. Why is it by design? Because they want the dogs running. And here's the irony. Nowhere in nature hustles except for humans. We're the only species on the planet that hustles and contorts itself to earn belonging. Our brain is wired at its core for safety, love, and belonging. And we are taught in those 0 to 12 years to do anything and everything to attain that. You do not see anywhere in nature repeating this. You don't see eagles plucking their feathers to fit in, yet I've got to like pencil my eyebrows on, right? You don't see whales apologizing for taking up space in the ocean, but we do. Because culture has taught us our survival depends on performance. But your natural programming, the one wired into your body, does not. It moves in truth and in ease. And we have become so disconnected from the somatic truth of our body that's constantly sending us signals that we literally create dis-ease in our life. I'm going to show you something. We're going to do a really quick exercise that I want you to do. We're going to breeze through this. So as long as nobody's driving, don't do this if you're driving. Either close your eyes or at least bring your awareness in internally. I'm going to show you how your natural instinct actually works. Or it will show you how disconnected you are right now from your natural instinct. So I'm going to say a few phrases. I don't want you to think about the phrases. I want you to notice what your body does and where you feel it. So just like close your eyes, go inward, take a deep breath, and just listen to the things that I'm going to say. I'm always the one holding everything together. I must be available to everyone who needs me. If I rest, I'll fall behind and nothing gets done. I'm just too much. I want you to notice how that made you feel and where did you feel it in your body. But keep your eyes closed. Your awareness inward. Now take a deep breath, kind of shake that off. And notice how these next phrases make you feel. I am fully loved and accepted. I get to choose how I live, how I love, and how I lead. My worth is inherent, not earned. I am valuable. All right. Could you feel the difference between those two sets of statements? Did anybody feel the difference? Because that is your subconscious. That is your nervous system recognizing the difference between cultural distortion and natural design. That is so important. So we're going to jump in right now to the 3 secrets, because again, I want you guys to see how culture is programming you. So we're going to, and how they're taking advantage of it. All right. We're going to go into the 3 secrets that all the gurus out there are not telling you. We are going to cut through the noise, and I'm going to expose to you why this 50 plus billion with a B dollar industry will continue to sell you all on keeping you dysregulated, and they're really only using regurgitated programs. Programs of how to be successful, how to live a fulfilling life, how to manifest your dream life, how to overcome imposter syndrome. It's all bunk, but it keeps you buying more and more programs, more books, more podcasts, more programs, more therapy, more. And none of it is going to stick. It might give you a temporary boost, but none of it is going to stick. And I am going to show you why, so you don't fall for any of this anymore, right? I'm going to get into these secrets. 1, success and fulfillment can never be found out there. Imposter syndrome isn't even a real thing, and they know it. And everything you believe about yourself and the world was programmed by the age 12. And I'm going to show you how and why. So no matter what they are telling you about success and fulfillment, you can never achieve it until you figure out and align with your own core integrity. It's not in buying a planner. It's not in a productivity hack. It's not even in some high ticket coaching program about following XYZ frameworks and systems. Not even if it was mine, because this was never about having the right system or program. This is all about aligning with your original design, not the one you inherited, adapted to, or contorted to survive. But most of us are taught, and these programs just proliferated. If it's not working, try harder, tweak the strategy, change the routine, push through. And then we keep trying that. And when it fails, we blame ourselves, and we actually create a cycle of wounding ourselves and searching for more, wounding ourselves and searching for more. I see it over and over and over, and no one is telling you the truth. That if you're still wired for survival, there is no strategy that will work or stick, because your subconscious operating system, written by childhood roles, cultural rules, inherited beliefs, will literally override everything new and default back, no matter how bad you want the new thing. So if the code underneath is saying, any of these survival things, any of the stuff in that workbook, right? Or, I'm only valuable when I'm producing, or being needed is the same as being loved. If I control it, I stay safe. And there's no amount of affirmations or templates or anything that you can follow that's going to override your subconscious programming. You have to know how to literally update and upgrade that programming. Then all of those other strategies, those external strategies, they become really simple. Success easily becomes sustainable. Alignment literally just happens. So this is the real work, you guys. And no, it's not flashy. It's not sexy. It's not, in some 10-step PDF program. It's not. There's a flow to it, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a minute. But it's literally the only thing that changes your life. And yes, you can stay in your same cycles. You absolutely can. Majority of humans have been doing that for way too long, especially women. But you don't have to. One of the things I hear from women that come into my orbit, because they're strong, they're capable, they're intelligent, I shouldn't need help for this. I should already know how to fix it. That's not true, right? We were not designed to be islands, you guys. And I understand that the idea of needing support feels vulnerable, sometimes embarrassing, right? We believe the lie, oh my gosh, if they knew that I actually had, needed help for that, I'm gonna lose credibility. That's a crock. That's old programming, you guys. Needing support is not weakness, it is wisdom. And that's what real transformation requires. And the truth is, more than likely, you've already done all the things and tried to do it alone. The therapy, the courses, the journals, the podcasts, the hustling, the affirmations, the healing, right? Not that any of them were wrong, but they were missing the mark when they don't go down to your core root programming, period. And the truth is, you guys, staying in survival just keeps you stuck. Like I said earlier, it just produces more instances where you have more survival mechanisms built, more survival cycles. And some of us have gotten so good at it that we've actually started calling it success. We wear it like a badge. I'm a survivor. And we have literally whitewashed it so that our brain accepts it as our cycle and our mode. We'll never be able to get out of it then. But it's not being responsible. It's not being strong. It's not being successful. You were not built to survive this life. You were built to thrive in this life, to rule over this life. But you are not going to figure that out when you're overthinking, over functioning, right? Performing strength while literally feeling like you're unraveling. So if you're whispering, if I just try a little bit harder, if I hustle just a little bit longer, if I just prove myself one more time, then finally I'll make it. Finally it'll feel right. It won't. I mean, just like pop that bubble. Survival mode was made to protect you, not fulfill you. It can't. Your neuroscience behind it, the psychology behind it, the quantum science behind it. No, it will never happen. It will just keep you stuck with the survivor badge. So the other secret that I want to reveal to you guys is what I call the imposter psychobabbling. Imposter syndrome is not a real thing. And it's a cultural script, psychobabble, a clever name to identify the friction you feel when you're wanting to rise to something, but you actually start to look around and you drop into comparison. And the worst thing is it gives high capacity women a new way to self-doubt and make an excuse for themselves with better language. I hate it. People are like, oh, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome. No, you're not. The truth is, and I'm going to cut this a little bit short. The truth is, you have a desire to grow and evolve from where you are. That's healthy. That's natural to want to go to that next level. And there's always a next level, right? That is not pathology, you guys. That is the growth process. But the problem is the self-help industry has made billions selling you back your own power. It's literally like in the garden. It just makes me crazy. But they're going to sell you in the form of fixes for a syndrome that's not even real, and they're not even getting down to the core of helping you identify that syndrome, because like they've sold you, you know, a $26 book or whatever program, a $5,000 program, and they could actually fix it with a sentence. They profit from your uncertainty. And as long as you keep doubting yourself, you'll keep buying. The courses, the books, the templates, the therapies, right? All trying to cure a lie that's rooted in one thing: comparison inside a culture designed to keep women in performance, because we're the best hustlers. We produce more. So let's keep us right in that wheel, in that hamster wheel. It is maddening. It's not about faking it. You're literally just outgrowing the old role. You're not an imposter. You are becoming. You're not behind. You're just needing to build a new infrastructure, a new identity. That's the tension that you're feeling. It's the system glitching, not you. Imposter syndrome is a distraction. It's like this invisible muzzle. It's the system's last ditch effort to keep powerful women small. You hardly ever hear men talking about imposter syndrome. So you have to take a step back and go, why? It is literally made to keep women shrinking, apologizing, not leading, and it keeps you in conflict with your core integrity. So please, let's stop calling your desire to grow and evolve a syndrome. Third secret: you don't need a new strategy. You need a new operating system. So I use this example all the time, you guys, because this is how your brain works. So let's say you are sitting down at your computer and you are wanting to upload this new program, the Fulfilled Woman program, on this computer, but the operating system was installed when you were 12. I'm not even sure what the operating system was when I was 12. DOS, probably, right? So how well do you think this new program that you're desiring is going to work on that operating system? If it will even load, right, it's going to be glitchy at best. Now, some of you might say, well, I've done some upgrades. I've changed my life. I've restarted. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you did. Maybe you did do some upgrades. I highly doubt that you are super well versed in the 0 to 12 thing, unless you're directly in the psychology industry, medical industry, and going as deep as we go. But maybe you did. When's the last time you updated that system? Was it 10 years ago? How well do you think this new system, this new program that you're desiring is going to work on even a 10-year-old operating system? So you guys, let's jump into the program, The Business of Becoming Her. You'll see her is capitalized. Her is the version of you were meant to be before the world told you who to be and developing her. And I have 4 steps to this. I try to like make them linear right here so you can see them, but the next page you're going to see is not linear, right? Awaken, align, ascend, and amplify. Those are the 4 steps to this program. But this is what it actually really looks like. And so this is what I call the you are here phase. Now, pause with me for a second. Look at this map, right? And think about the biggest mall you've ever been to, right? And you have just decided you are wanting this new wardrobe. It looks like X, Y, and Z. And you've got to go to this mall to get that wardrobe. And there are multiple huge anchor stores to this mall with multiple levels, and then all these little stores attached to those big anchor stores, right? But this massive mall. All right, Maria, this massive mall. And you could spend all day searching all over, trying on outfits, and this isn't fitting and that isn't fitting. And eventually you get discouraged, you get exhausted. And the most important thing when you go to, there you go, the most important thing that you go to is the map that says you are here. You don't go to the mall going, I need to find the outfit. Because otherwise you're going through 5,000 stores on multiple levels. And by the time you're done, your brain is so fried. You're like, I have no recollection which parking garage I parked in. So before we go anywhere, we have to recognize where we are right now. And this is the awaken area. And what leads you there to each phase, right? See all these small ones. It could be a finance crisis, a family crisis, a health crisis, a soul crisis, just a massive altogether my life is falling apart crisis. It could be any number of things that literally snap us awake, right? It's an alert. And this is what I want you guys to see with this program. I'll move that chat over. Every woman I work with enters at the same moment, this alert. Something's going on, wah, 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 inside of them. This isn't working, right? Something triggers an internal alert. It could happen in any number of areas. It doesn't even have to be limited to, the areas that I put on there. It could be any number of areas. That's just to give you an example. It could be, like I said, a full-blown crisis. But this isn't a moment of breakdown. This tension is not a moment of breakdown. It's literally an invitation into this becoming her process. It always is. And when you identify, so like in that workbook, all the stuff that we've been talking about, when you identify, I am here, then you can begin to direct the route of where you want to be. And no matter where your entry point is, you're going to go through the same 4-point flow. Where people get it wrong is they start hop, skipping, and jumping over some of these concepts when they're, trying to DIY their life on their own. And they just keep themselves in the same cycles. So you get alerted. In this program, you go into awaken. You become aware of the patterns, the roles, the inherited beliefs, things that you've been living from. I teach you how to do that. I shared in the last class, I had a gal that went through, that I was coaching, that I took through this, and she was like, oh my gosh, XYZ thing happened that usually would have taken me out for days, like to just process through and get over that. She goes, I was literally able to process through it in like 5 minutes. Like, yeah, absolutely. That's what happens when you begin to live this. It comes out of you. The program has now been updated, right? So then that moves you into aligning, where you begin to align back to your core integrity. You begin to rebuild whatever that alert and awaken part was, right? To align with your integrity, your values, your rhythm, your boundaries. All right. Then you take that into the ascend section, which is now taking action. You have to take action. This cannot all live in your head. All right. You take action. You learn how to take action. You learn how to create new reference experiences so that we actually reprogram the program in the brain. This helps you build better trust in yourself, right? Trust with those around you. This is a whole thing about inherent trust that just comes off of your own integrity and your own congruence, internally and externally. Then from there, you move into what we call amplify. And this actually expands on that fullness. So you can lead, you can scale your own life, living rooted in your truth and not in performance. And you literally become a magnet for others. This isn't just a course or a coaching program, you guys. This is a lifelong operating system. Like, look at this as kind of like your neuro map, because you're constantly going to be going through this. There's always going to be alerts in your life because life is messy and life is always changing. But how you work through them becomes easier and easier as you flow through this reprogramming. It creates your internal map. So you stop doing the survival flow. And this is how you literally constantly thrive and grow. And I understand sometimes people look at these maps, they look at the whole thing, right? And they're like, this feels really overwhelming. This feels too hard. And I get it. I totally get it. Like that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. This is not about getting it all right, all together, that's the hustle culture. That's the survival mechanism. Hustle, hustle, do it, no, you guys. And I want to tell you, you've already done hard. This isn't hard. This is just new. You've done hard. You've done overgiving, overfunctioning, holding it all together. That's survival level hard. This is not that. This is growth. This is truth. This is learning to flow. This is stepping out of where you are to become more aligned with who you're supposed to be. And the other question, what if I screw up and slip into old habits? You're going to. You are so going to. Because we don't get this perfect right off the bat. And those are even growing and learning moments. And the difference is now you'll actually have the tools to regulate and recenter. And you'll have the community and the leadership to help you, right? You will be anchored in your own truths. This is why it's different. And you will fall back into old stuff because you're human. You are not superhuman. I mean, there's another, scripture, stop acting like you're mere humans. I mean, we are tapping into some pretty amazing things, but we also have to walk, in grace and mercy And then this is similar to something that, you know, Maria earlier said when we were going through the workbook. What if I don't even know what I really want? That's okay. That is absolutely okay. As you dive into this, you're going to be excavating so much and you will discover what you really want. So you guys, I already told you from the very beginning what that program looked like. One of the things for this first cohort, the people that are actually going to pilot this program with me are going to be getting some, I already said, bonuses and something different than what is just going to be offered to the general public. So I'm going to get into that really quick. We're going to breeze right through this stuff. This group is actually going to get live group coaching with me. So it's not going to be just a DIY. You can DIY it if you want, but you're actually going to have access to 16 live group coaching sessions with me where you can come as real and as raw as you want to be, and we will work through whatever your question is until it's worked through. All right. You're also going to get that private community with these like-minded women on the same journey. And we have built in, you know, accountability checkpoints for you, not accountability in a bad way, but in a good, supportive way where you are actually going to feel truly seen and heard. We are throwing in for this first cohort, the success activation tracker. So for those of you that like to track, like knowing where I am, where I've been, where I'm heading towards, what's that next step, that's all built into it. That whole training is going to be in that, also thrown in for this first cohort that really aligns with the program. The next one is another teaching called Her Truth Alignment Kit, which really dives in, helps you dive into those core values. You know, it's like somebody said earlier, what if I don't even know what those are? We're going to discover those. I'm going to take you through one of my teachings that is super valuable in discovering that, so you can actually create your I Am Reset template that goes with your core values and how you actually make decisions from that place. This another teaching called Her Permission Slips, and it really helps you identify where you have been looking for permission in your life based on those 0 to 12 years and how you can now give yourself permission. So the other thing that a lot of people get super excited about, if you are an entrepreneur or desiring to be an entrepreneur, is we're also throwing in my vault of all the strategies, the systems, the email templates, the pre-made funnels, the all of that stuff that you need in order to launch or scale an online business. That will be released to you as you're going through the program, because I will tell you all the systems, all the strategies, which I have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to have and then develop things that are, you know, even better. They all work when the person is working correctly in their design, right? So I'm just going to be giving those to you in the vault and can absolutely coach you through that. So this first cohort is beginning August 4th, and you will be done before the holidays. At the end of the year, I am considering putting together a like a vision class and planning class so that you guys can tackle 2026 from this new place of your core integrity and identity, and have literally the most amazing aligned year and learn to flow through those systems as the year brings you new things. So what I want to close with is some more statistics of why I'm doing this and why I'm so passionate about this, you guys. Is these are not my numbers. All right. These are numbers from things like Forbes, from Harvard Business Review, from Inc.com. 88% of women entrepreneurs say they struggle with burnout. 88%, you guys. 60% feel like they're constantly starting over, which means they're always investing in, a new program, a new coach, a new this, a new that. Like that whole burn it down, scrap it model that I said is absolutely ridiculous. Only 2% of female entrepreneurs ever hit 7 figures, and 78% say they feel emotionally spent. It's because they're chasing somebody else's blueprint. It's not aligned with who they are and their integrity. And then high functioning anxiety and depression is reported by 72% of women leaders. You guys, that's horrible. These are horrible stats. This is why I do what I do. So yes, in what I'm offering you and all of the values, not inflated. If you guys know how much, if you guys have been in my vortex, you know how much I charge for my coaching and my different programs. So just my coaching is almost twice what the cost is for all of this stuff. And when I put this together, I had 2 choices. Sure, I could play it safe. I could produce another low touch DIY, product, like the bajillion that are out there that you're probably really familiar with, or I could go all in. And that is what I have decided to do. That with this program and next year, I am literally going all in on you guys. Because I believe, like I said in the very beginning, women are the answer to what is going wrong in the world today. So if all I did in this program was help you build a fulfilling life that finally feels like it fits the woman that you are, would it be worth it? Because today you can get all of this for only $997 when you use the code FOUNDER. All right. If you went to the site earlier and got that, which I'm concerned because I had heard a little ding earlier. So I got to go see who did that, and paid the, $1,997. You need to use the code FOUNDER, and then you'll get it for just the $997. So $1,000 off. And it includes all of the bonuses. So now I had 2 options. You've got 4 options. One is you absolutely can do nothing. There's no problem with that. Option 2, you could do nothing, but I'm going to put that off later. I'm going to do that someday. Today, I don't have the time, the money, whatever the, justification is. You can absolutely do that and hope that someday comes. You can do that. You can try to DIY this all on your own. What I've given you today is real, it's raw, and you can continue to try and DIY stuff, right? Or you can say yes to the woman that you are becoming and join us in this program. Some of you, I know that $997 isn't going to work for you today. So we did do a financing option, and you can do 3 payments of $397. So it's only going to be $397 today, 2 more payments. If you choose that payment option, then use Founder 3. Don't use just Founder, it won't work. Founder 3 is what will work in the payment section. So some quick questions. Does it matter if I'm in the US for this course? No, not at all. Everything is going to be recorded. It's going to be in your membership site. And you can watch it, rewatch it, whatever. You are, welcome to do whatever. I am actually going to poll all of the members, and we are going to figure out what is the best time for coaching, because you guys will get live coaching also. But if you can't even make it to the live coaching, You can simply give me your questions and I will answer them on the recording, and then you'll actually get that in the recording. I'm going to make it work for you guys. And like I said, what if I can't make the live coaching calls? It's okay. You just get me your questions, your problems, your issues, and I will address them on the coaching call. So you'll have the recording of it. You're not going to miss out. I promise. Can this material help me in my own coaching business? I get this a lot because for whatever reason, I coach a lot of coaches. Yes, absolutely. Because what happens is it just comes out of you, right? On top of that, we do have coaching certification offerings and stuff like that. Like if you literally want to license our material and coach that and make this kind of difference in other women's lives, we have that option too. So you could literally make money off of it. How much time will this take me each week? Each training will be about an hour. So if you watch the recording, obviously you can speed it up if you want. You can take it in sections, however you want to do it, but figure about an hour on the training and then, you know, the workbook that'll go through it. Like I said, we have 4 modules, but there's 4 lessons in each module that we be broken down so that you can get through it in that time. So do I need to have a business to join? People ask that because of the vault that we're adding in. No, absolutely not. This is going to help you no matter where you are. If you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're retired, if you have a business or you want to have a business, we've got all, if you're a professional, it's going to help anybody. But if you do have a business or you desire to have a business, I'm going to be sharing all of the strategies and the plug and play systems so that you can have a successful business. All right. How's this different from any other programs I've tried before? What's different is none of this is regurgitated. None of it. You will not find any of this anywhere else because I'm the one that built it. And it's that combination of the neuroscience, the psychology, deep spiritual excavation that's going on, the quantum science, it is all tied together. So, and we are totally addressing that core program, your operating system that is running, that changes everything. It's going to change your spirituality. It's going to change your health, your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health. It's going to change your relationships. It changes everything. It changes the lens in which you experience your entire world through. So what happens when the program is over? There's a number of things that happen. First of all, for this cohort, you're getting lifetime access to this program and the updates that I do in it. You guys will be grandfathered into this program. No renewals every year. No, oh, you're going to now get level 2 of this program. No, you are going to get the whole program for the entirety of its life, your life, and all of the upgrades. And if you know me, there's always going to be upgrades because I'm always growing, I'm always learning, so I'm always going to be injecting that into whatever I do. So you could just stick with this program and evolve with this program. You can absolutely come into doing one-on-one coaching with me. I've got an Apex operating system program that I run my coaching people through that then partners with AI on a whole next level. I've got all kinds of crazy testimonies around that. We've got a bunch of stuff. So don't worry about what happens when you get through this program. Those options will reveal themselves to you when you get there. But for now, let's just stay focused on the here and now, right? So here's some testimonies that I absolutely love that have come to me. You're more than welcome to look over those. I would say the one on the bottom that says this work didn't just change my life, it gave me back myself, is the comment that literally rocked my world like no tomorrow. So that is that. Oh my gosh, I see a bunch of you guys came in and I did not see that you came in. All right, I'm going to promote you to panelists so you can ask questions. Please accept that. You can keep your camera off if you want to keep it off. Not a problem. but we are going to go through all of your questions, your comments, your concerns, everything. I know that some of you might not have been on in the beginning when we went over the workbook. Happy to go over that also. Let me clear my screen out really quick so I can actually see stuff. Did everybody